Here in one of the broadcasts, and I saw the second plane hit the building, and I couldn't believe it, because at first, my thought was, well, maybe it was just an accident. But then when you saw the second plane come in, it was clear, I think, to everyone that this was not a mistake. This was a clear, deliberate, malicious act, that was perpetrated on the United States. And at that point, I just felt that.
As Matt just mentioned, we have a breaking news story to tell you about. Apparently, a plane has just crashed into the World Trade Center here in New York City. It happened just a few moments.
I just want to say something. We're looking at a picture here where it appears, because of the angle, I think, that the towers are leaning, and I don't think that that is actually the case, because after the first impact, it looked as if it was the right-hand tower was leaning, and now somebody is saying, we're getting a witness saying they are leaning actually right now, which will give you an idea of the type of impact we're talking about.
And that perhaps they're buckling under the force of
just before the morning commute, before people were heading into their offices, and while I'm sure some people were already at work, immediately there's speculation or cause for concern. This is the World Trade Center that was the center of a terrorist bombing some years ago. So the questions have to be asked, was this purely an accident, or could this have been an intentional act? But either way, extensive damage has been done to this building.
It also looks like there's smoke coming out of the east side of the building in that shot we just saw.
were absolutely devastated when they heard this explosion. We talked with somebody.
There's a lot of chaos on the ground, a lot of emergency vehicles, everyone from
Perez is scheduled to meet with Yasser Arafat. Of course, we've had the meeting in
We're talking to you to see if we can tell.
Okay.
We can't see anything. We can't see a second plane in the picture.
Surrounding the two Twin Towers.
Right, and those are how big?
Some of them range from surrounding the two Twin Towers.
Right, and those are how big?
Some of them range from 20 stories.
Midtown Manhattan now with a view over the city skyline. And David, it is still stunning for those of us who live here to look behind you and not see the Twin Trade Towers.
Well, Tom, it is a
ever seen in your life. Some 18 minutes later, a second commercial airliner slams into the second tower.
And now somebody is saying, we're getting a witness saying they are leaning actually right now, which will give you an idea of the type of impact we're talking about.
And that perhaps they're buckling under the force of
Today we've had a national tragedy. Two airplanes
have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country. I have spoken to the Vice President, to the Governor of New York, to the Director of the FBI, and have ordered that the full resources of the federal government go to help the victims and their families, and to conduct a full-scale investigation.
An investigation must not interfere with the ongoing efforts to prevent the next attack.
Senator Tom Daschle said last week that you called him several times and urged him not to investigate the events of September 11th.
Tom's wrong. He has, I think, in this case, well, let's say a misinterpretation.
He said on one occasion that the president asked him to do that at a breakfast meeting. Are you now saying that they weren't asking to block an investigation?
Anthrax investigation, anthrax investigation,
anthrax tainted letters,
anthrax tainted letters,
anthrax laced letters,
anthrax laced letters.
And now, if you join me in a moment of silence.